Hello and welcome to another special episode of the Boss Code. Today I am with two gentlemen from Krafton India. One is Anuj Sahani, who heads Krafton India's incubation center. Another is Nihansh, who heads their corporate investment arm, where Krafton is trying to build relationships with sort of creators and startups to build and connect to their IPs. So today's conversation will be around what sort of changes are happening in the gaming landscape and what is Krafton India doing. And we'll be speaking to these gentlemen to understand how game development is happening in India and what is Krafton's roadmap for India. On that note, I'd like to invite Anuj. Anuj. Hi, John. Hi. Hello, Nishan. Nihash. Nihansh. Nihansh. So great. So Anush, could you give a quick roundup or an overview on what you do as the head of the incubator at Krafton? Yeah. So see, we launched our incubation program in 2023. It's a India-specific incubation program. It's a complete virtual program. The duration of the program is from 6 months to 1 year, and we provide financial support of up to 150,000 US dollars. Also, along with that, the program comes in very heavy with the mentorship program. We have mentors from across the globe: Korea, India, Europe, US, and they are veterans in the industry with experience of more than 15 to 20 years. They have worked on variety of games. And see, since it's an incubation program, we incubate young startups. What they lack, they lack experienced people. They lack know-hows. They don't know how to progress further in the game development journey after certain stage. And that's where our incubation program comes in handy, where our mentors, our team, our Kiki core team, our financial support, which comes in very handy, and work with the teams to grow their games from where they are. Normally, when we typically incubate any game or team, they are at like 2, 3 employee level team, very small startup. They have a good prototype or a first level build with them, which is fun to play, which is engaging, but they don't know how to grow from there. But once they are incubated with us, we work with them for next 6 to months, 6 to 1 year, and then we work with them on growing the game. Normally, our target during the incubation program is to soft launch the game and validate the game KPIs with actual valid users validation. And then from there we grow. So this is nutshell the overall layout of the incubation program. So as I'm asking this question, let's say I'm a game developer who has just two people, me and my co-founder, trying to build a game. At what point should I come reach out to you and have a conversation, or what is that process like? How do I get started talking to you and then asking if I need money to further develop my game, or what kind of expertise I need? Sure, definitely. So, at what stage it's pretty simplified that you need to have a playable version of the game and the game concept and the design document with you. We have an online portal for Kigi where you can go ahead and apply. We have a simple form to fill in where we get all the details of you, team members, founders, everything, which is listed in the form. You can fill in the form, you can send us the details. And then as a Kigi team, we review your application. If it's shortlisted, we'll get connected with you. And do you have like a cycle of applications, or you keep like a? The applications flow in can come in any time, but normally our incubation program starts every year in April, and application process officially starts in September. But we normally accept applications so that we can shortlist and carry forward for the next cohort. And this is your third cohort. Yeah, we have open applications for that cohort. So how do you see this experience in the last two cohorts? What are some of the things that you learned in terms of what Indian game developers are doing? Are they up to the mark with, let's say, Southeast Asian standards or globally? How do they fare? If you could give a sense on that. See, in first cohort we incubated 4 teams. In second we incubated 6 teams. So overall we have incubated 10 teams as of now. See, we have a lot of talent here in India. There is no problem of getting talent from India, but we also need to understand the game development ecosystem is not there in terms of not having great colleges, not having great institutions from where you can learn how to create games. So people who are creating games in India are out of passion. They're learning by themselves. They're self-taught in terms of game development, or maybe they were working somewhere and now they're forming their own company and trying to continue the journey.
So the problem which we normally see is at the initial stage is understanding the market, understanding the competition, understanding how to grow the game, how to acquire users. And then somewhere on the technical front, when we come together as a team and we start working, it's not just like a developer or programmer working on the product. You have programmers, you have artists, you have product managers, you have game designers, you have marketing expert, you have UA expert, there are n number of people which comes in to create one game. So when all these resources combine, because when you form a startup, you're incubated, you hire more resources, then now a different set of problem comes in. So I rather see it that creating a game is one part, one piece of a puzzle. Like you create a game, you create a decent game. Now from there to growth is a totally different journey where a lot of other team members comes in marketing, promotions, user acquisitions, then your live operations, how you can keep on engaging the users for years. So all that strategy comes in later on. So can they create game deployment is one part of puzzle, and growing the game is a different part of puzzle. But normally during 1 year of incubation program, we try to sum up everything so that at the end of the incubation program, the startup can continue journey on their own. See, like we have also mentorship on investments, how to raise funds, how to create pitch decks, and all that stuff. Where Nihansh comes in very handy and help these teams to understand how they can work on their decks and how they can talk to their investors.
Right. So I want to get to Nihansh on that. Before that, I just want to get this idea of, let's say somebody, so about 10 total number of game developers are part of your cohort so far. So what happens after the first cohort that comes in? Are they off on their own, or you're kind of, still hand holding them? What kind of support do you provide after? Or do you, like, for instance, my question is rather, is there a time commitment that you give apart from the money? Or it's like an ongoing
So,
relationship?
see, our incubation program is for max 1 year, but we still provide support to the teams after the incubation program also because they are part of our alumni network. And we work with them closely, not too closely, but we work with them on monthly basis or a bi-monthly basis where we connect with them and understand if they're facing some issues or if they have certain problems. We try to help them out with help them out in solving those problems. Not just we leave them after 1 year because they're still part of our network and we still want them to be successful in the industry because there was some belief and we had some belief in them. That's why we incubated them. So we don't want to leave them after the incubation program. We still provide them support, but technically, if you speak, the financial support and the incubation program ends after 1 year. Right. But the support is still there. We are still connected with all the teams. We still talk to them. We still give them feedback. We send us well. We let them know. We review their roadmaps. We tell them how to do things. Still there.
Great. Nihash, I want to bring you in here. So, is it fair to say, or fair to ask, that at the point where the cohort ends their phase, you step in to kind of be the part, the person from Krafton to kind of help them, connect them to your IP. How does your relationship start from there?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. That I think that's also the origin of the incubator program that we initially started investing, and our original idea was to invest a lot in gaming studios. But what we realized very quickly is that uh, you don't have the depth of the market required to run an effective game, investments program, unless you also start an incubator in parallel. Because a lot of studios that used to come to us. Don't necessarily need investment. They need guidance on how to build the product. The way I think about it is an investor's job. I mean, a company is investable once there is some level of product market fit, right? Or if even before there's a market fit, but at least a product needs to be there, right? With a lot of other industries, making the product is easy, but with gaming, making the product itself takes time. So the role of the incubator program is to help them build the product, and obviously it is with a goal of some market and market fit. But uh, uh, ideally, once the product is ready, then investors can start looking at it. Ideally, most investors ask for something called product market fit, where you don't only have a product, but you also tested it in a particular market, and you have some initial evidence of the fact that some people like your product. And what that means is that not just that you've built a game, but you've also tested the game in a particular market, and there is a subset of users you can say who like your game enough to play it. It is not good enough to just have a product. Some people must want to use it, right? So that's when the investment journey starts. Because as an investor, you can give money, you can give some expertise, some help, but it is limited, right? Most of the heavy lifting needs to be done by the studio themselves. So we continue to invest in studios, but our goal is that studios who are not able to meet that benchmark, and a lot of them don't, need to go through the incubator program. And the idea is that out of the incubator program, we do see some success stories where we see that we feel confident as an investor that we can back some of these studios, because as an investor also you also have a level of financial diligence that needs to come in the sense that while you're giving this money, this there is a potential of this company to make revenue and grow the company and eventually either list or whatever kind of a situation, but essentially you don't essentially lose money, right? So that element of financial diligence and the mindset of a financial investor also needs to come in despite us being a strategic investor. Right. So it may not apply for every company that is part of incubator, but our goal is that at least some companies become a part of our investment portfolio as well. Got it. And that's what my attempt is as a part of incubator program. That when studios have reached a stage where uh, the game is more or less ready, then I work with them to understand uh, how investors would look at it, how they can perfect and polish the product in a way that it can be, presented to investors. Because again, generally investors don't invest alone, right? You invest as a part of a sort of a group of investors. There's one lead investor, there's some follow-on investors. So if a game has wider acceptance amongst the investor community, then it's easier for them to scale up to raise funds from multiple investors, right? Right. So that's our objective to uh, bring the studios to the level where then they become investable and attractive to investors.
Great. Could you explain your portfolio of these investments that you're doing? And in that, what percentage of the first cohort is in there, or number of companies?
Right now, it's we don't have any because our investment, like I said, we started first with investments and then the incubator. So our investment portfolio, actually, none of the incubated studios are in the cohort right in the investment portfolio right now. But we do hope that it will happen in the future. Right now, I would say we have around 16 companies in our portfolio, and out of that, four are studios, game studios. One of them we have acquired majority stake in, a studio called Nautilus Mobile. Uh, there are the three other studios which are part of our investment portfolio, which we are still minority investors in. Besides that, there are a few consumer internet companies, and there are a few content companies in our portfolio. I talked about one of the content companies, just Kuku FM. Another content company which we invested in is a company called Pratilipi. Then on a consumer internet side, we have a company called Friend, which is audio rating. Then we have a company called Cashfree, which is payments. We have a company called One Impression, which is more into influencer marketing. All of these, we have a company called Bobble AI, which is a keyboard app specifically, designed for contextual communication in they have a lot of emojis which are very Indian in nature, which can communicate in memes in Indian languages, etc. So these are all consumer internet companies that we have backed, and that's essentially our portfolio, right? So it's a mixture of media entertainment, gaming. Then there's some gaming associated companies, well, like Nodwin, for example, which is not a game studio, but a large part of their business is esports. It's not all of their business. The company is, I would say, a youth media company, but some part of their business is esports, right? So, so it's gaming and game associated is about five, six
Right.
investments, and the rest of it is consumer internet content.
So Nihansh, that's quite a spread out portfolio. So what's your underlying theme that you actually pick, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that go on. So how do you connect it to what Krafton wants to do? And how do you put the, I'd say, put your money where your mouth is,
So I think the way we look at it is we don't necessarily start by saying that Sometimes we do that as well, but we don't always start by saying that this is a sector where we want to invest in a company and then look for it, right? Sometimes companies approach us and they say that, we are looking to raise funds. Would this be something that interests Krafton? And we find something where we realize that there can be potential synergies. And we always use two lenses. One is the financial investor lens, that are we going to, and what a financial investor will think, can I make 20% IRR on this? Our thought process is not that I can make 20% IRR and exit in 5 years, but will we lose money or will we not? Will we continue to sort of be, in the green? So that at least diligence we do from a financial investor perspective. And then separately, can this strategically benefit our business and can we strategically benefit their business? Right? Can it be a symbiotic relationship? And if the answer in both cases is yes, we can proceed ahead with the investment because we want to invest in as many companies as possible, right? So that's why it seems a little disassociated. But in each of these companies, there's a significant investment rationale of why we are investing and what we hope to achieve from our collaboration. Got it. For example, in the influencer marketing company, right? For promoting games, one of the best ways, not just in India but globally, is influencer marketing. And in most of the countries in the world, uh, influencer marketing is a very agency driven business in the sense that uh, every influencer uses an agency and the brand has to contact the agency. It's a very manual way of doing things, which makes it very inefficient and very not very scalable, right? And the key, problem that that results from this is that the younger influencers and newer influencers find it very hard to break into the industry. There are very strong barriers to entry. Uh, the company we invested in is trying to automate a lot of these things and create a platform where influencer discovery, right up till hiring an influencer, looking at the content and paying the influencer, all of it is happening on the platform, right? And if obviously this is still something that they're working on and they're building that business. But if this were to become the main way of doing influencer marketing, it would be a windfall for smaller influencers who would be able to give their services in a very efficient manner and get paid very efficient, right? So for us, the benefit there is that becomes easier for us to promote our games because now there are more influencers who can promote our games. There are more games which you can promote with specific influencers depending on the target geography, target market. So the more mature the influencer marketing ecosystem becomes, the more beneficial it is for us, the easier it is to promote our games. Right. Similarly, let's look at, for example, payments. Payments is a very critical part of any game, right? And the difference between a regular app is that an app will have a product, purchase a product, you move ahead, that's your payment journey. But for a game, that journey is not simple because you sell products as a part of the game experience. So every time you go out of the game experience to purchase a product, you spoil the game experience. So you need a very seamless integration with any payments company, and it takes a lot of time for us to integrate. So we need to work with somebody who can spend a lot of time in integrating with us, and also work for on specific products for us. For let's say, for a shooter game, you may need a different kind of product. For casual game, you may need a different kind of product. So that's why you invested in it. Yeah. So with every single case, there is some specific rationale. And obviously for content, which is a huge category where we have made a few investments, the overwhelming rationale is that, uh, for example, content itself, IP is fungible across different content categories, right? I told you that we had put some of our IP on the Goku FM platform. Yeah. That's a use case right there that we can collaborate with them because it's not our story, right? We own the IP. Yeah. Kuku FM team writes the story, and that's they have the expertise in writing the story. But we also work with them quite a lot because the IP is ours. We need to ensure that it's treated sensitively, right? So we need a very close collaboration with them in building the story. Because if we just build our story, then it won't work on their platform. It may not work with their audience. Yeah, like you spoke about symbiotic, right? Exactly. That's where the symbiotic relationship comes in. That put a lot of IP on their platform, and maybe use some of their IP in our games, right? So when we invested in Cocoa, for example, they were just doing audio stories. Now they are pivoting to micro drama. And then now there are even more synergies with the video game, right? Because video games and stories have a very symbiotic relationship globally. You can see The Witcher, which was a novel, it became a video game, then it became a series. And then on the flip side is Harry Potter, which is a book and a movie, and then a game. Yeah. And then Star Wars, which was a movie, and then it became a game, and then now there's fan fiction on it. So its own shape. Exactly. So I mean, IP is that way, right? The more kind of places it's available, the better it becomes. So that's why there is a lot of synergy with content. Then there's a synergy. Let's talk about Bobble, for example. They have a lot of users, right? Uh, any platform with a lot of users, especially where you have a lot of young users, can become a very effective distribution channel for our games, right? Because whenever we launch new games, I mean, BGMI is already very popular, but whenever we launch new games, we want them to reach as many people as possible. And we also need to understand from you know insights into customer behavior, uh, how we can get in front of the right audiences who are more likely to play games. So that's where our investments in companies like Mobile AI or AdTech comes. So there's some strategic rationale or synergy behind every investment, and that's our thought process. Right. And wherever possible, and the reason we look at it like this is because we want to make as many investments as possible. Right. And we want to take every chance to make an investment rather than look at it the other way around where we say okay, we'll deal with one sector at a time, because that will result in us making fewer investments. Right. So from that point, I want to move to Anuj. I want to get an idea about your incubation experience and also understand uh, what is the age bracket and the kind of cohorts that are coming in. Who are the people that you're investing in? And also, what makes you invest in specific, or rather, say that this particular game has a potential to go X distance or whatever. How do you take that call? First is the profile of the people, and then the potential. See, in combining both our cohorts, the profile of the people are mixed bag. It's some are fresh to the market, like they have been in the industry for 1 or 2 years. Probably they're working somewhere. Some are slightly more experienced. They have been working somewhere for last say 5 to 7 years. Couple of teams are where they have been trying games from last 4 5 years, and they are very passionate and committed to make games, and they are part of our incubation program. So pool is different set of people, different set of mindset, all coming in together, different teams, different startups, and we incubate them. So it's basically what we gauge in any concept or any team is. Firstly, we try to understand what founders' visions are, what they want to do in their life, where they want to achieve, where they want to take current game, what kind of future, what kind of games they want to develop and all. Then we look at the current concept, what they are building, what kind of concept it is, how fun it is to play, whether the team has the ability to make it or not, whether Krafton can come in support to make this game which can go globally and be enjoyed by global users. So there are a number of things which you look at the startup level. It's not just the team or the concept; it's a combined combination of effort which you look at. You also look at their capabilities of doing things up. So there are different set of things which you look at. So roughly, how many ideas or founders you would have had to kind of skip to get to a 10? See, this year itself, we have more than 800 applications. 800. Yeah. Okay. Just from India. Okay. So you can understand the passion right now. And how much has it increased from the first cohort? So first year we had around 350 plus. Second year we had around 400 plus. Now we have around 800 plus. That's a lot. I mean, how much time do you allocate to kind of go through it? It's not an easy task. We have a team to go through it. Okay. Then normally in our process, like some kind of a Y Combinator style setup where you kind of No, a lot of us. I mean, a lot of people inside Krafton also pitch in. Yeah. Right? Like if you have to play test games, it's not possible for one person to play all the games. Yes. So you play test games and then you say, okay, this was good in my pool and this was good. So basically, the steps in this process is that we have a key team, basically the incubation team, who goes through all the applications. We shortlist. After shortlist, we play a majority of games, and then we come up with a set of teams we want to incubate. and then it goes to the other stakeholders. Like Nihansh is one of the stakeholders in viewing the applications. So out of that, when we collect feedback from different teams, then we also do round of interviews with each studio, which we shortlist, and then we finalize. And it's a multifaceted feedback. So, for example, some game may be good at art, but the story doesn't make sense, or like the gameplay is not fun. For me, the biggest thing is gameplay. I mean, you can have the greatest art from a gaming perspective as a gamer. Like gameplay should be fun. So I give the highest marks to that. Somebody else may give high marks to something else, right? So it's a combined sort of multifaceted sort of input that goes in, and then you come up with, the key team obviously then gives the right weightage and everything. Right. Then you come up with a list of. It takes us roughly around 3 to 5 months for us to come up with the cohort, like finalize the teams, because it's not just understanding the concept of the team and all. We also need to understand the gaps. Yeah. Because that's why we do a lot of discussions with the team to understand where the gaps are. Because we don't assign mentors because we have to assign mentors. It's basically we understand where the gaps are, whether they need more support in design or the art or the tech. Then accordingly we bring in mentors. Right. So we need to onboard mentors also. Mentors also needs to be focused and give the 100% to the team to make sure they achieve success. So it's a combined effort which goes in. It's not. It looks simple, but it is not simple. Yeah.
So both of you are gamers now. The thing is, I mean, the last two codes and the third one that you are actually now sifting through 800 applications. Do you see like these two games look interesting? It would be fun to have both of them work together and try to kind of bridge those two together. Has something like that happened, or do you
I don't
plan?
think it will happen till now. No, no, not till now. Yeah.
Because it's also very different. They are coming from two different studios. But as a person who wants to incubate something, because this whole thing is a very creative process, right? You cannot have a set pattern or rules for certain things. So, do you have that kind of thinking in mind? To
I know it's a Y Combinator thing that they often do it. So we had discussed this. I think I mentioned it to Anuj that this is something that do. I think there was some problem. We had discussed this before that the problem in gaming is that generally you need to know your co-founder well, and you cannot force fit them together unless they are themselves willing to. At best, you can nudge them, and in most cases people want to work with the teams they already have, like they bring their teams in most cases. And see, also the thing is that in gaming you have different genre of games. Yes. Like some are casual, some are shooters, some are puzzle, and each team has its own expertise in building certain kind of games. Even if you see globally, there are like normally all the studios work on certain genre of games. They don't just pick any genre and start working on it, because you need to gain that's years of knowledge which they learn after making one game, second game, third game, and that's the knowledge they want to continue. That's the user they want to continue. So that's why. So it gets very difficult to mix bag teams in specifically in gaming, because of that's the one of the reasons, and also the art style is different, the game design is different. There's so many things different in different games. Right. So when you build one expertise, you won't lose that. You want to continue. So if you make one puzzle game, then after that you want to continue making puzzle games, because that's a knowledge you are gaining in that specific genre. So each genre is a different skill. Right. Altogether.
The other thing is when you're looking at about, I mean, the whole thing keeps on going back to about 800 pitches that come to you. Is how do you checklist and say, it qualifies for this, that, what's the, maybe 5 point or 10 points that you follow to say, okay, this qualifies your first level and then moves to the next process?
See, at initial level, we look at the concept, like what kind of game they want to build, what it is. That's a presentation format we go through. If that is good enough and exciting, then we go to the playable version. That we play the build and understand how it is. So you have a vision to create a game. Now, how your vision is looking, whether that you are able to replicate that vision or not. Once we understand, okay, the vision is good, okay, you are able to replicate it also well. There are gaps, that's fine, because it's still an early stage. And then from there, we look at there. Then we have a round of discussions with the team and understand what the capabilities and all. And that's a step when we go ahead with.
Got it. The other thing is how much of an importance would you give in terms of game development for a stickiness of a game, right? Because these also are habit-inducing creative tasks. So, how do you keep that as an important area to pick the right games and also develop it?
See, there are two things. First is the core loop of the game. See, if and we identify whether it is fun to play or not. See, and then comes the stickiness. Stickiness are through meta layers or different features which we bring in. But at the core, game should be fun to play. Whatever you do in the game should be fun, should be engaging enough to play the game. And then we stickiness is something which we work with the team later on. We build in meta layer, we build in engagement mechanics and all that stuff so that users can come and play the game again and again. Yeah, but if the core loop is boring, nothing gets again. So
Right.
that's the because that's going to get repeated again and again.
Right.
If you are not enjoying that, it's gone.
Then it's okay.
Yeah.
So both of you are gamers. This is the last question and a more important question. And you guys have grown through playing games.
I have played games
Given
with
that
DOS.
dangerous Dave.
Yeah. No, paratrooper before that.
So, if given the kind of explosion at which this esports itself is developing, what are some of the I'd say what are some of the areas that kids is not the right word, but those who are still not fully blown, maybe that's a good word. How much of technology should they keep and develop, and how much should they take time out and do different other things?
I think it's a balance that is required in as in most things in life. If I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about like newborn kids, right? Obviously, there are like medical advice to keep them away from, let's say, shining, devices, etc. But once they cross that stage, it is important to expose them to technology because we're living in a world of technology, right? If they don't understand how it works, it's going to be tough for them. So. I would not advise to keep kids completely away from technology as well because I have grown up with technology, right? The reason I have been playing games since I was very young is because in my family, my dad bought his first PC when I was very young, and the moment it came into the house, I was on it, right? And I can tell you that uh, whenever I have played a game, obviously you can't do anything in excess. You have to judiciously use everything in. I mean, everything in excess is bad for you. Sugar in excess is bad for you. Salt in excess is bad for you. Water in excess is bad for you. Everything is bad for you. But if you use it judiciously, gaming activates a lot of neurons in your brain which are related to problem solving. Because that's what you're doing when you're playing a game. You're problem solving. Uh, at the very basic level, you get very good at problem solving. And this I've noticed throughout my academic life that there's a misconception that people who are gamers are not good at studies, whereas my experience has been the exact reverse. That people who I used to play Counter Strike with, who used to be all the time playing Counter Strike, they also used to top in exams because the problem solving skills were at a level which nobody could, touch them at that stage. So, what I would say is that you need a judicious balance. I think Elon Musk has talked about it that eventually education itself will become something which is as close to a video game as possible. And I personally have experienced this because, uh, I mean, many people hate history in school, right? I used to love history because my dad introduced me to this game called Age of Empires. And I learned my history through Age of Empires. And it was the best history class I ever had, right? So if you teach people using video games, it will eventually happen. Education will slowly shift towards gamification. It's already happening, right? Languages, when you learn through gamification, you learn it very fast. So uh, I would say that you can't consume it in excess, but at the same time you need to be in touch with it because it is a misconception that video games uh, are not good for you. They are actually very good for you. There's a lot of research on this now. That obviously you don't need to get addicted to it. You can get addicted to a lot of things. You should always stay away from addiction. And the clear sign of addiction is that can you stop playing for a weekend? Nothing happens to you. I can stop playing games for a week. Nothing happens to me. Like we are at IGDC. I'm not going to play any games for a week. And then the moment I'm back, I'm back to. So you need to keep it under control. But as long as you keep it under control, it is the best storytelling medium. It's the best entertainment medium. I can't remember the last movie I saw because for me, it's all boring.
Games
Now.
are better than movie.
Games are much better as a storytelling device.
Anuj, what about you?
So I can talk from like parent perspective. I have a 9-year-old son,
Sure.
and he has been playing games for since the age of 4. But it's restricted. He plays for 30 minutes to 1 hour in a day, and it has helped him a lot in focus, concentration, and because you can't play the game if you can't focus or you can't concentrate, it helps. And there are a lot of educational games right now. He solves maths puzzles very quickly, and it's fun and interactive manner. And not at home but at schools also, there are a lot of apps, and there are a lot of like there's one app called Mind Spark, where they get constant problems over there, maths, English. They have leaderboards, they compete with this other students, so it's a gamified way of education, but it motivates kids to learn faster and have fun with other kids. So it's he shows me on the weekend, he shows me leaderboard, oh, I'm ranked 2, I'm ranked 3, my friend just surpassed me. It motivates him to study more and focus more.
That's interesting. I think the other point that you mentioned about any game, like how you are evaluating your pitches, it has to have the fun element in it.
Yes.
And this kind of thing actually brings the fun element into the way people want to learn. But like Nihansh is saying, it has to be in moderation.
Yes,
You have to set the time.
Yeah. You have to have a social life as well outside of games. Like many people have a social life inside. I used to have one inside of games. Clan.
Yeah, but VR, I think very likely social life will also get into the games.
It is already getting. It is
But
already.
that in itself opens up a Pandora's box.
But that also helps you because it helps you do things which you could never like do in real life. For example, so I'm from this college called IIM Calcutta. We had this thing called World War, where we used to raid a college, like physically, we used to raid a college.
Physically?
Yeah, we used to raid a college and dig out a tire from there, right? And the kind of like teamwork that you are able to develop in these kind of situations, like physical situations, is amazing, right? uh, there are a lot of games which can simulate it better than real life, and you may never get into these kind of situations now in real life because our many people play sports, but we are living in cities which are very congested. Many people don't get the opportunity to play sports nowadays. I see there are schools without playgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just mind blowing to me, but that's what it is. That's what life is now in cities. But this can actually give you an opportunity to, do socializing and understand teamwork. And that's why we talk about esports. I think one of the principles of esports is that the best gamer is not necessarily the best team player. And the best team that wins doesn't necessarily always have the best gamers. Because in a team, you have a certain role and you have to play that role to the best of your ability. And many kids learn that. I know I learned that from Counter Strike. I mean, I played my role as a sniper. I needed somebody with a separate role set, like a berserker, for example. It's a something in that. But the idea is that you learn teamwork a lot from games, and you need to have a social life outside of games as well. But games also help you socialize.
Got it. Thank you. On that note, Nihansh, solid push for gaming. But of course, with moderation. And
Yes.
thank you so much for your time, Anuj.
Thanks, John.